أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا مظلوم يا غريب يا شهيد كربلاء، يا ليتنا يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. من ذا يقدم للجواد والأمة والصحب صرعى والنصير قليل، فأتته زينب بالجواد تقوده والدمع من ذكر الغرات يسيل، وتقول قد قطعت قلبي يا أخي حزنا، فيا ليت الجبال تزول ولمن تنادي والحماة على الثرى صرعى، ولا منهم يبل غليل ما في الخيام وقد فنى أهلها إلا نساء ولهن وعليل. أرأيت أختا قدمت لشقيقها، أرأيت أختايا قدمت لشقيقها فرس المنون لاحما وكفيل، ورنت إلى نحو الخيام بعولة أضمان نصب الدمع وهي تقول قوموا إلى التوديع إن أخي دعا، قوموا إلى التوديع إن أخي دعا بجواده إن الفراق طويل. فخرجنا ربات الخدور عوائرا وغدا لها حول الحسين عويل لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A second for the love of Imams Al-Hassan wal-Hussein. It's the night of Ashura, a third salawat for the love of Fatima al-Zahra with your loudest voices. Many times we speak about the necessity and the importance of having unity between Muslims among the schools of thought and sects of Islam, between the Shia and the Sunnah. And this is very important, and this needs to be addressed. Why? Because we have common enemies. There are those who prepare and have hidden agendas to divide us and conquer us. We have enemies that work all year long, all month long, all day long, in order to divide us and separate us and damage us. We have Zionists. We have the neoconservatives in the United States of America. Their job is to divide us. Thus, the issue of unity among Muslims is important. Al-Shaykh Muhammad Hussein Kashif al-Ghata said his famous quote, بُنِيَ الْإِسْلَامُ عَلَى كَلِمَةِ التَّوْحِيدِ وَتَوْحِيدٌ كَلِمَةٌ. That Islam was built upon two pillars: the unity of Allah, كلمة التوحيد, and the unity of Muslims. However, what is ironic is that when we talk about the issue of unity amongst Muslims, and when we have scholars and speakers address the issue of unity among Muslims, we see that there are followers of the same school of thought, they're divided. Within the same school of thought, we see them divided. So isn't this a double standard? When we talk about the unity of Muslims at large, when we within the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt, we ourselves were divided. How can we expect ourselves to unite with the rest of the Muslims when we ourselves, we are not united? There's a saying that says, فَأَقَدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِي. If you yourself are not united, how can you expect to unite others? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. You advise all Muslims to be united when you are not willing to be united with your own brothers in your own school of thought. Isn't this ridiculous? I remember a few years back, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, before the time of Hajj, before the season of Hajj, King Abdullah, Malik Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, called for a conference inviting the world religions to attend, and he called for a dialogue amongst the followers of world religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. There were some that criticized him. They told him that you are not united with followers of your own religion. There are Muslims in Saudi Arabia that do not have the right to practice their own religion freely. They don't have their mosques. They cannot print their books. And you are calling for a dialogue with Christians and Jews when you are not even willing to engage in a dialogue with your fellow Muslims? There were some that criticized him. And this criticism was needed. And it's correct. But the same people that criticized King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, they themselves are guilty of the same crime. We talk about unity amongst Muslims, while we, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, we ourselves are divided. Where's the unity amongst us, the Shia alone? Where's the unity amongst us? Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. First of all, allow me to say that our maraji', may Allah bless the souls of those that are deceased from them and protect the ones that are living from them. Our maraji' are united. Our maraji' themselves, they are not divided. You will not see any of our maraji' divided, or that speak against one another, or have no respect for one another. Absolutely not. Our maraji' are united. There is no division amongst themselves. They respect and honor each other. They visit one another. Yes, there is a difference of opinion. Sometimes they disagree with one another on certain issues. Each one has his own opinion. This doesn't mean that they are divided. And I'll get to that in a little bit. Sometimes they disagree on certain Islamic laws, fiqh matters. This doesn't mean that they are divided. Division means that there are major differences. That means each one has his own ideology and his own political views. Now, our maraji', alhamdulillah, they stand under one banner, and they agree on many things, and they are extremely united. Yeah, there's a difference of opinion sometimes, but this doesn't mean that they make it personal. The difference of opinion is never reduced to personal attacks or personal feuds. In the city of Najaf, there were two scholars at the same time, Al-Mirza al-Na'ini and Al-Muhaqqiq al-Iraqi, as we call him, Adawiyat al-Din. These two scholars were classmates, and they studied under Al-Akhund al-Khurasani. They were classmates. After the death of their teacher, they both became teachers, and they both became maraji'. And they would teach at the same time. And it is stated that Al-Muhaqqiq al-Iraqi would debate the opinions of Al-Mirza al-Na'ini while they were both alive. And Al-Mirza al-Na'ini would debate the opinions of Al-Muhaqqiq al-Iraqi at the same time. They would debate their opinions in class, but they would also visit one another. And they had respect for one another. And they would gather and hold meetings. Thus they were united. But in class, this is academics. This is a difference of opinion in academics. Just because they disagree in certain opinions, it doesn't mean they are divided. This must be very clear for our brothers and sisters. Just because our maraji' sometimes disagree on certain issues, it doesn't mean they're divided. And I remember a story that I've heard, that when Sayyid al-Khomeini, Sayyid al-Imam, was in Najaf, he would meet with the rest of the ulama, Sayyid al-Khori, Sayyid al-Hakim, Sayyid Muhsin al-Hakim. And they say that once Sayyid al-Khomeini and Sayyid al-Hakim had a meeting, and they discussed the issue of Iran, of the Shah. Should the Shah of Iran be toppled or no? Sayyid al-Hakim's opinion was that no, he should not, because he's the lesser of two evils. And if there should be a revolution, perhaps millions of people would die and so forth. Sayyid al-Khomeini disagreed. He said no, there should be a revolution in Iran and the Shah should be toppled. It was a debate, but it was in a good manner. Finally, they say that Sayyid al-Khomeini told Sayyid al-Hakim, he told him, you are Tattaba'i. You are among the descendants of Imam al-Hasan. So you follow the footsteps of your grandfather. and I am the descendants of Imam Hussein, I will follow my grandfather. And that's it. In all honor, in all respect, difference of opinion does not create division. In fact, right now our Maraja are united. They stand together and they take one position. I remember once we went to visit Ayatollah al-Uzma, Sayyid Muhammad Sa'id al-Hakim in Najaf, one of the grand Maraja in Najaf, with my father. My father asked him several questions. What is your opinion of this? What is your opinion of that? What is your take and position regarding this issue, that issue? He said, Sayyidina, our spokesperson for the Marja'iyya is Sayyid Sistani. We stand behind him. We, the Maraja of the city of Najaf, we have decided that Sayyid Sistani is our spokesperson. He's the spokesperson for the Marja'iyya. And any position that he takes, we stand with him. And we're united under his leadership. This was beautiful. This is our Maraja. They are united. That is why in Iraq now, you don't see that a Sayyid Sistani takes one position and another Marja takes another position. No, they're all united under one position and under one leadership. Our Maraja are not divided. And as you remember, when the haram of Al-Askariyin in Samara, during the bombings, when they occurred, all four Maraja gathered at one time. At one point they gathered at the house of the Sayyid Sistani, under his leadership. And the Sayyid Sistani also asks the other Maraja for advice. And he asked them for their opinions as well. And he has been quoted several times saying, I'd like to get the opinions of other Maraja before I take any position. This is, our Maraja have always been like this. صلوا على محمد وعلى آله. However, you might say, Sayyidina, if our Maraja are so united, why is it that every year in the month of Ramadan, in the beginning of the month of Ramadan, and the end of the month of Ramadan, for Eid, we have a division? Why is it that our Maraja are divided? Why can't they unite under one opinion and declare the first of Ramadan as one day, and the day of Eid as one day, not 3 days or 4 days? The answer is that our scholars are not divided. This is a difference of opinion. This is a fiqh matter. Why do our scholars spend 50, 60 years of their lives studying in Hawza? So that they develop their own opinions. This is the whole point behind ijtihad. The point behind ijtihad is that not everyone has to think the same. This is one of the beautiful things about our school of thought, is that you're not forced to think all the same. In the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt, the door of ijtihad is open. Come, do your research, follow the guidelines, and develop your own opinions, and no one will say anything to you. As long as you follow the guidelines, no one will say anything to you. This is the whole point behind ijtihad. What's the purpose of studying for 50 or 60 years and then everyone has the same opinion? What's the point? What's the point of this research then? This is the point of ijtihad, is that every person has his own opinion. Just because they disagree on certain issues or they disagree on the issue of moon sighting, this doesn't mean that they're divided. By the way, the issue of moon sighting, my dear brothers and sisters, many people think that this is easy. Let our Maraja get together, let one of them invite the rest for lunch and coffee, and let's say, hey, let's all unite on the same day. It's not as simple as this. People think it's a game, or it's easy, let's all decide on the same day. This all goes back to your opinion. You think that they purposely decide on having Eid or the beginning of Ramadan on separate days? Absolutely not. You don't think that our ulama or Maraja have thought about this issue? Some people tell me, Sayyidina, you study in Najaf. Why don't you speak to Sayyid about this issue? You don't think that Samahta Sayyid knows about this? Or he's taking it lightly? Absolutely not. But these are their opinions. They've looked at the sources. From what they understand from the Quran and the Hadith of the Ahl Bayt, this is their opinion. You can't change facts to satisfy people. Our Maraji' never change facts just to satisfy their followers, or because they're afraid of losing followers. They could care less. What's it to them? If 1 million people follow them, or 1 million people stop following them, as long as with Allah is satisfied with them. This is our ulama are. The issue of moon sighting, brothers and sisters, it's a complicated issue. Don't think that it's a simple issue. This has been an issue that has been debated for the past 1,000 years. From the time of a Shaykh al-Saduq and a Shaykh al-Tusi up to our time. For 1,000 years, our ulama have been studying it, researching it, debating it. It's not simple. The whole debate is on this issue. If the moon is sighted in one city, is it enough to prove the beginning of the month in all other countries, in all other areas? Or no? Every city has to sight the moon in that area. For example, if you sight the moon here in London, does this prove the beginning of the month in the United States of America? Or no, the people in the United States of America, they also have to witness the moon. This is the whole debate. The answer to this question relies on 3 issues. Basically, I'm summarizing a debate that can last for over a month, or a debate that can be up to 200 pages. I'm summarizing it in 5 minutes. Number 1, they discuss this issue. Is moon sighting relative or not relative? What do I mean by that? The sunrise and sunset is relative. Every city has its own sunrise and its own sunset. The people of London, they pray Fajr according to their Fajr. And they can no longer pray Fajr when it's their sunrise, not anyone else's sunrise. And they pray Maghrib after their sunset, not anyone else's sunset. So it's relative. Every city follows its own sunrise and sunset. Is the moon sighting the same? Is the moon the same or no? Does every city have to sight the moon according to their own horizon? Or no, once the moon is sighted, it's the beginning of the month for everyone. Some scholars say it's relative. Other scholars say it's not relative. This is a difference of opinion. Number 2, sighting the moon. Is it the only way to prove the beginning of the month? Or are there other ways? When the hadith says, صُمْ لِلرُّؤْيَا وَافْطُرْ لِلرُّؤْيَا, begin fasting according to the moon sighting, and stop fasting according to moon sighting. Is moon sighting the only way to prove the beginning of the month? Or, for example, you can depend on scientific calculations. You could go on moonsighting.com and you can see when will the new moon be born. Is this enough? Or you have to sight it with your own eyes? This is also debate. Some say you have to sight it with your own eyes. Others say you can depend on scientific calculations. And number 3, we have specific ahadith. We have specific ahadith that address this, that address the issue of moon sighting. Some scholars understand one thing, other scholars understand another. Khalas. It's a difference of opinion. There's no politics, there's no hidden agendas, there's no hidden motives. It's a matter of academics. It's a matter of what you understand from the sources. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Unfortunately, and forgive me to say this, but this is what, from my observation, some people blow up the matter. Then they make it a big deal. And they say that we're divided. No, we're not divided, alhamdulillah. So what if we didn't begin the month on the same exact day? Or we broke our fast on 2 separate days. It didn't occur on the same day. This doesn't mean that we're divided. I'll tell you what's going to divide us. and what has been dividing us. Moonsighting is not dividing us. Begin fasting according to the opinion of your marja, and stop fasting according to the opinion of your marja. Enjoy the month of Ramadan together, and enjoy it together. It's not a big deal. This is not a big deal. Unfortunately, people blow it up, and they exaggerate, and they say this is a form of division. No, this is not a form of division. Our maraja are not what is dividing us. And it's not their opinions that divide us. You know who's dividing us? It's the followers of the maraja, not the maraja. It's you and I that we're dividing the community. It's the followers, not the maraja. Our maraja tell us to be united. They tell us not to be divided. But it's certain followers that divide the Muslim community and the Shi'i community and the followers of Ahlul Bayt. Every person is entitled to his or her own opinion. But there are some that cannot accept other opinions. It is only their opinion that counts. It is only their opinion that matters. If another person has another opinion, this person needs to be eradicated. How dare he or how dare she have another opinion? We don't have tolerance for others. Some of us. We don't have tolerance. And unfortunately, there are some people in our communities, they develop extremism, they become extremists. Extremists in their thoughts and their opinions and how they deal with other people's opinions. We have seen in this community and in other communities, but specifically in this community, extremists that push for their opinions. It is only their opinion that matters and no one else's opinion matters. He's correct and everyone else is wrong. And they've created division in the community. And this is a problem because it affects our youth. Our youth, when they see divisions in the community, when they see their elders and their role models divided, they develop a hatred for religion. They develop a hatred for their Islamic centers. Indeed, it creates a backlash. If they say this is Islam and these are Muslims, then we don't want to be part of this community. For example, every year, and when I come here, certain issues have to arise. For example, the issue of tatbiq. Every year, this is a common theme. You have a camp that will stand and will say, you have to do this. Islam will not survive without this practice. You are not a follower of Ahlul Bayt if you don't practice this. And so on and so forth. And on the other hand, you'll have a camp that will say, this practice is destroying Islam. And these people that practice it are not even Muslim. And they're a disgrace to Islam. Listen, brothers and sisters. Both camps are wrong. Both camps are extremists. I'll tell you this. Not this camp and not this camp. These are two extremes. The issue of tatbiq. Tatbiq is not an issue to promote for Islam, and it will not bring millions of people into Islam. And it will not cast away millions of people outside of Islam. This is an issue. Whether you're pro or you're against, you're entitled to your own opinion. You want to practice it? Go and practice it. This is a free country. No one will hold you back. You don't like it? Keep it to yourself. Why make a big fuss about it every year? Why do we have to receive emails every year? Why do we have to receive pamphlets every year and divide the community over this? Whether you're pro or you're anti, khalas, have your own opinion. Do whatever you like. Why divide the community? I'm not here to take any position regarding this issue. But I'm saying don't let this issue become an issue of division. This is ridiculous. Or another issue that occurred of whether we should curse the Sahaba and some of the wives of the Prophet. There are some that believe you are not a genuine follower of Ahlul Bayt if you don't curse some of the wives of the Prophet. And if you don't attribute to them some ugly acts, you're not a genuine follower of Ahlul Bayt. And the Ahlul Bayt will not be pleased with you if you don't curse this and this and this person. And on the other hand, you will have some people that will say, if you curse the Sahaba. If you disrespect the Sahaba, you are not a Muslim. We have to honor all of the Sahaba. And we have to honor all of the wives of the Prophet. No, my dear friends, you're both wrong. You're both wrong. You're both extremists. Islam is not like this. In the school of the Ahlul Bayt, they did not teach us to be extremists like this. You have an opinion? Good for you. Believe in your opinion. But don't try to force it upon anyone. Don't make it an issue to divide the community over this. How many youth, because of a backlash, they ran away from our communities because of these issues that divide us? This is wrong. Or another issue that came up regarding mysticism and arfan and spirituality, and again it divided the community. Why? Why blow it up? Why exaggerate these issues? You have an opinion? Khalas, you're entitled to have your opinion. But don't create havoc in the community. Look for the greater good. Don't destroy the unity in the community. I feel like my blood pressure is going up. What's the problem here, brothers? The problem here is that we have not learned to respect other people's opinions. We feel that whatever opinion I have, it's the correct opinion. And everyone has to have my opinion. If someone disagrees, then that means I should fight this person. I should turn him into an enemy. And I should spend the whole time fighting this person. Why? Is this what Islam teaches us? Where's the principles of Islam? Did we forget all of our principles? And we let our ego come in? I assure you, sometimes, brothers and sisters, sometimes it's not about the actual opinion. Sometimes egos come in. Arrogance comes in. No, this is my opinion, and I will fight it, not for the sake of the opinion, but because I'm saying it. Because it's my opinion, and everyone has to agree with me. This is a problem. Islam teaches us to be open-minded. Islam teaches us to respect all other opinions. The same way you're entitled to an opinion, other people are entitled to an opinion. Be open-minded. Listen to other opinions. Don't close your ears. Not like the followers of Nuh. Nuh alayhi salam tells Allah, he says, إِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. Every time I call my followers, my tribe, to your path, they close their ears and they cover their heads so that they don't hear me and they don't see me. Islam says, no, be open-minded. Listen to other opinions. Listen to what's out there. Some opinions are good. فَبَشَّرْ عِبَادٍ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. Allah praises those that listen to all other opinions. They listen. They're open-minded. They don't say, no, I'm never going to listen to this speaker because he's a follower of this or that. Or he comes from this school of thought. Or from this sort of background. This is wrong. الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. Those that listen to all opinions and all sayings and all speakers, and they choose the best one. They choose the one that makes the most sense. They choose the one that conforms to the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah the best. They follow the best opinion. Let's open the doors for discussion, brothers and sisters. Let's listen to other people's opinion. Perhaps their opinion is better than mine. Perhaps I will learn something. Perhaps they have good proof. Don't buy into biases, brothers and sisters. Don't buy into prejudices. If you sometimes hear something about a certain speaker, about a certain book, or about... Don't have that bias. Be open-minded. Give a chance. Sometimes we're not even willing to give a chance. How many times do we get upset when we hear about our Sunni brothers and sisters that are not willing to listen to our opinions because of certain biases? Because they hear that we accuse Jibreel of deceiving. We say Khan al-Amin after our salah. Or we do this, or we do that. Don't we get upset? But we do the same. We do the same exact thing, but within our own school of thought. And in our own communities. Thus, Islam tells us to be open-minded and to listen to all opinions. Number 2, Islam tells us that if you have an opinion, don't force it on anyone else. Yes, get the message across. Propagate for your opinion. Deliver a message. Invite people to your cause. But you have no right to force it on to anyone. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. There is no compulsion in religion. إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر. Allah tells Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that you are a reminder. You cannot force them. No matter how much you want people to follow you and to come to Islam, you can't force them. You can't force Islam upon others. إنما أنت مذكر. All you can do is remind people, show them the path. But hold a gun to their head and tell them, come this way? You can't. إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. Allah tells the Prophet that you cannot guide those that you want. You can't force them into guidance. Allah guides them. All you have to do is try. Try your best. But you can't force your opinions or thoughts upon anyone. They say that there was a Khalifa who had an advisor. One day this Khalifa, he thinks he's a good poet. So he decided to recite a few verses of poetry, a poem, in front of his advisor. And he told him, I want you to tell me what you think. Do you like my poem or you don't like my poem? After the Khalifa recited his poem, his advisor was disgusted. He told him, listen, do you want me to give you my honest opinion? Or do you want me to satisfy you? What is it that you want? He said, no, give me your honest opinion. He told him, your poem it's an embarrassment. I don't advise you to say your poem anywhere else. He said, okay. He called his guards and he told them, go and have him sleep with the horses and the cows. So they took him to sleep with the horses and the cows for an entire week. After a whole week, he said, bring me back my advisor. He sat down. He told him, I have another poem to recite for you. And I want your opinion from it. He recited the new poem. After he recited, once he was done, his advisor got up. He told him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to go sleep with the horses and cows. You can't force your opinion on anyone. You can't force your own taste on anyone. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Some people are going to disagree with you. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Islam also tells you, don't be arrogant with your views. You have an opinion, that's nice. But you don't necessarily need to think that that's the best opinion. No. Don't be arrogant with your views. The same way you could be right, others could be right. The same way you like your opinion, other people like their opinion as well. Look at the manners of the Quran. And what the Quran teaches Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He tells him, tell the mushrikeen, polytheists and pagans, those that worship idols, tell them, وَإِنَّا أَوْ إِيَّاكُمْ لَعَلَى هُدًى أَوْ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Tell them that one of us is wrong and one of us is right. Don't tell them that I'm right and you're wrong. This is Rasulullah. Rasulullah, who we're 100%, not 100, 1,000,000% sure that he's right and the mushrikeen are wrong. The Quran tells him, tell them, وَإِنَّا أَوْ إِيَّاكُمْ لَعَلَى هُدًى أَوْ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Tell them that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. Don't tell them that I'm right and you're wrong. This is arrogance. Avoid arrogance. And Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, the famous Sunni Imam, one of the 4 Sunni Imams, he has an eloquent statement. It's a very beautiful statement. He says, رأيي صواب يحتمل الخطأ ورأي غيري خطأ لكن يحتمل الصواب. my opinion is correct, but there's a chance it could be wrong. And the opinion of my counterpart, it's wrong, but there's a chance it could be what? Correct. Keep that possibility. Keep that possibility that you could be wrong and other people's opinions could be right. Don't be arrogant with your views. If you have a cause, my dear brothers and sisters, and I'd like this message to be delivered to everyone in this community and other communities. If you have a message, if you have an ideology, if you have certain thoughts and opinions, whether they're religious or political or social or historical, and you'd like to propagate for your cause, there are certain ways. Number one, use the Quranic way. Let's see what the Quran tells us. How the Quran tells us to propagate for our views and opinions. The Quran says, "Id'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izati al hasanah." Number one, use wisdom. Be wise. Don't be arrogant. Don't be foolish. Don't be opinionated and prejudiced. "Id'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah." Use wisdom. وَالْمَوْعِظَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ. And use good admonishment, good advice. When Allah sent Musa to Fir'aun, along with his brother Harun, He told him, اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقولا له قولا لينا. When you speak to Fir'aun, and this is Fir'aun, who declared himself فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى. He claimed to be the greatest God, this huge dictator. Yet Allah tells Musa, when you go to him, speak to him softly. فقولا له قولا لينا. Don't curse him. Don't use harsh words. Speak to him softly. Use good words. Let's use the Quranic approach in debating and propagating for our views and opinions. Number two, don't get worked up. Don't stress. If you have a good opinion, it'll spread. If you have good proof, if you think that your opinion, your views, your ideology is worth it, don't worry about it. It will spread. You don't have to get worked up. You don't have to stress over it. The Quran tells Rasulullah, لَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ أَلَّا يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. The Quran tells Rasulullah, don't stress. Don't stress over it. People will come. They will follow you. They will come into Islam. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. Allah is speaking to Rasulullah. We didn't bring down the Quran so that you could get worked up and stress. People will come and accept your message. Number three, the Ahlul Bayt tell us not to argue over religious matters. If there's a difference in religious views and opinions, there's no need to argue. There's no need to make it personal. Don't make it personal. Don't make personal attacks. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْخُصُومَةُ فِي الدِّينِ. Don't argue about religious matters. Yes, share some thoughts, share some opinions. But to argue and to make personal attacks, no. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْخُصُومَةُ فِي الدِّينِ. Let's learn from the akhlaq of Rasulullah. How he delivered his message. How he would get the point across. How he influenced people. The Quran tells him, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Ya Rasulullah, it was out of mercy from us that you softened your hearts for these harsh Arab Bedouins. And if you had hard manners, rough manners, harsh manners, people would have run away. Unfortunately, many people in our community, they have harsh manners. They don't forgive. They're very harsh in their tone and their attitudes. Even when they come to the Majalis of Abu Abdullah, you see them sitting down, but attacking others. They sit down, but they attack one another. Is this correct? Even in the Majalis of Abu Abdullah? صلى على محمد وعلى آله. My My dear brothers and sisters, we cannot afford being divided. We cannot. Look at the results of division. We have seen what division has caused. The issue of Bahrain. Why do you think that the revolution in Bahrain has not succeeded so far? Why did it succeed in Egypt and in Libya, but it hasn't succeeded so far in Bahrain? Isn't this sad? These are our brothers and sisters. And they are being massacred. All kinds of crimes are being taken against our brothers and sisters in Bahrain. But the revolution is not succeeding. It's been several months now. Why? Because they're not united. Because our brothers and sisters in Bahrain, our Shia brothers and sisters in Bahrain, they're not united. They're divided. They don't have one central strong leadership. This is the reason for the failure of their revolution so far. And I say this with sadness in my heart. Wallahi. I say this in disappointment. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring success to the revolution and to help them and bring victory to our brothers and sisters of Bahrain. But that will only come once they're united. Why are the Shia of Iraq not getting the rights that they deserve? Why are other factions in Iraq more successful than the Shia of Iraq? Why is this? Why do other groups, they get whatever they want, their agenda is successful, and they're getting everything that they've asked for, but not the Shia? The answer is simple. It's because we're divided. It's because we're divided. We're not standing under one leadership, under one position. We're divided. They say 5 Iraqi men held a meeting to form one political party. After the meeting, they had formed 6 political parties. Not 5, 6. This is how we are. And as long as we remain this way, Iraq will be in devastation. Iraq will be in ruins. And we will never receive our rights. Why? Because we're disunited. Brothers and sisters, this is important. And our hope, we've lost hope in the older generation. The older generation, we've lost hope in them. Because they were born and bred in these sort of customs, with their divisions, there's no hope in them, but the hope is in you. The hope is that you don't have these prejudices. I'm not even going to try. You grow up standing united, fighting for what is the greater good of the community, and you stand undivided. The hope is in you. Because as for the older generation, it's Allah's cause. It's not even worth trying. Today, brothers and sisters, we have a huge opportunity in front of us. We have an opportunity to spread the message of the Ahlul Bayt. And alhamdulillah, thousands and thousands of people are coming to the school of thought of the Ahlul Bayt. In places in which we never even dreamed of, people are accepting the message of the Ahlul Bayt. In Egypt, people are turning to the school of thought of the Ahlul Bayt. In Tunisia, in Libya, even in Saudi Arabia, in areas where it's a main stronghold for Wahhabis, people are turning into the school of thought. They're coming to the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. And they're accepting the school of thought. This is a new phenomenon. And we can do a lot more to spread the message of Ahlul Bayt, as long as we work together. As long as we don't fight one another. As long as we don't accuse one another. We accuse each other of being spies or agents, or being suspicious of one another. This can only occur if we work together. The message of Ahlul Bayt can spread. We can do this. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala. On the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam stood in front of his enemies, the Imam could have cursed at them. He could have cursed them. He could have used foul language. He could have used a harsh tone. He could have told them that you are all ending up in hell. But Imam Hussein didn't do this. Look at the words of Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura. Imam Hussein was was emotional. Imam Hussein was respectful. Imam Hussein even honored his own enemies. He stood in front of them wearing the turban of his grandfather Rasulullah, holding the sword of his grandfather, holding the special copy of Quran of Rasulullah. He stood in front of them and he said, "Insubuni man ana. Alaysa Rasulullah khatam al-anbiya Muhammad jaddi. Alaysat Fatima al-Zahra ummi. Alaysa Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada ammi. Alaysa Ja'far al-Tayyar ammi. Insubuni man ana." He started asking them, "Don't you see who I am? Isn't Rasulullah my grandfather? Isn't Fatima my mother? Isn't Hamza, the master of martyrs in Uhud, isn't he my uncle? Isn't Ja'far my uncle? Why do you fight me? Haven't you heard my grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam state, Al-Hasan wal-Hussein, Sayyida Shababi Ahl al-Jannah? Haven't you heard him? And if you don't believe me, go and ask Zayd ibn Arqam. Go and ask Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. This is how Imam Hussein addressed his enemies. He didn't use harsh tone. He didn't have a harsh tone. He didn't use a foul language. He didn't condemn them to hell. He didn't call them mushrikeen and kuffar. He was pleasant with them. Even with his own enemies who fought him, he had high manners. When none of this succeeded and all endeavors failed, he appealed to their emotions. He told them, Ya shi'ata ala Abi Sufyan, in lam yakun lakum deen, wa kuntum la takhafun al-ma'ad, fakunu ahraran fi dunyakum, in kuntum urban kama taz'amun. O the followers of Abu Sufyan and the family of Abu Sufyan, if you have no faith in Allah, and if you have no fear of the Day of Judgment, at least be free men. Free men. Do not be slaves of Yazid and the likes of Yazid. Kunu ahraran fi dunyakum. If you are Arab, as you claim, if you have the values and the morals and the ethics and the principles of the Arab, then be free men. Imam Hussein appealed to their emotions. Tonight is the night of Ashura, brothers and sisters. If we were to go into Karbala on a night like this and go to the camp of Imam Hussein, we would hear something. We would hear the buzzing. We would hear a sound like a buzzing of a bee. The hadith says, إن أصحاب الحسين ليلة العاشر من المحرم كان لهم دوي كدوي النحل ما بين قائم وقاعد وراكع وساجد. The companions of Imam Hussein, tonight is their last night in this life, in Dar al-Duman. They're spending the night in prayers and worship and ruku' and sujood and qunut. Imam Hussein on a night like this did not abandon Salatul Layl. He prayed Salatul Layl. And he would tell his sister Zainab, وَإِذَا قُمْتِ إِلَىٰ نَافِلَةِ اللَّيْلِ اذْكُرِينِ. And if you stand for Salatul Layl, remember your brother who can no longer pray Salatul Layl. Sayyidah Zainab came out of the tents, realizing that this is the last night with her brothers. This is the last night with her companions. This is the last night with her children. She stood out. Imam Hussein came out and he saw a shadow. He thought it's an enemy. He approached and he saw that it's his sister Zainab. She came to him, Aba Abdullah, tomorrow is it? You're leaving us tomorrow? And there's no return, Ya Aba Abdullah? Imam Hussein put his hand on the chest of Zainab and he prayed to Allah to give her some patience. He said, Oh Allah, fill her heart with patience because tomorrow she will be in need of patience. And he started to tell her to be patient. Zainab alayhi salam looks at her brother Hussein. She told him, Satajiduni عند حسن ظنك بي يا أبا عبد الله. Inshallah, I won't disappoint you, my brother. I won't let you down tomorrow, my dear brother. She came out, she looked at the companions when she heard that Habib ibn Malahir has arrived to the city of Karbala to join the camp of Imam Hussein. She sent a messenger. She told him, go and tell Habib ibn Malahir that Zainab sends her salams to you. When that messenger came to Habib ibn Malahir, he told him that Sayyidah Zainab sends her salams. He says, من أنا وأكون أن تبعث لي سيدتي زينب سلامها. Who am I for a Sayyidah Zainab to send her peace and her salam? The past couple of nights we recited the tragedies of all of the ashab. Most of the ashab, most of the companions of Imam Hussein. But there was one more companion left. One more companion left. When someone gives a gift, when you take someone flowers, you take them beautiful flowers, you put the most beautiful flower right on top. You put a lily or whatever on top of those flowers to make the whole bouquet beautiful. Imam Hussein gave all that he could. He gave his brothers, his children, his companions. He gave his own backbone, Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He gave this entire bouquet to Allah, yet he wanted that beautiful flower on top of that bouquet. He put his own son, Ali al-Asghar, Abdullah al-Radi', he wanted to give him. أعطى الذي ملكت يداه إلهه حتى الجنين فداه كل جنين. He gave his own infant for the sake of Allah. Moments before entering the battlefield, he came to say his last farewell. Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, he said his farewell 4 times. And by the way, Imam Hussein gave 5 children on the day of Ashura, not 2. Not 2. Most people think that Imam Hussein gave only 2 children. Ali al-Akbar and Ali al-Asghar. No. Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura gave 5 of his children, 5 boys on the day of Ashura. One of them was a child that was born on the day of Ashura. On the day of Ashura he was born and he died on the same day. Abdullah was 6 months. Sayyidah Zainab comes to him, she tells him, Ya Aba Abdullah, if you're leaving, look at your son. Look at your child, he's dying from thirst. Perhaps if they don't have mercy upon you, they'll have mercy on this child. Imam Hussein took Abdullah al-Radi', not carrying a sword, not carrying a shield, not carrying his armor. He took him, he held his son, and he went towards the enemy. Abdullah al-Radi' was in the hands just like this child, in my own hands, and crying just like this child. He went to the enemies and he said, if I have a fault, if I have performed a crime, then what is the crime of this child? If you don't wish to have mercy upon me, then at least have mercy on this child. The hadith says, the narration says, the enemy soldiers huddled, discussing. Some said, let's have mercy upon him. Let's give him some water. Others said, let's not give him some water. Umar ibn Sa'd saw the enemies huddling, discussing. He looked at Harmala, he said, what are you doing? اقطع نزاع القوم يا Harmala. This is not time for a discussion. End the discussion. Harmala says, on the day of Ashura, I threw 3 arrows. I shot 3 arrows. 3 arrows came out of my spear. One of the arrows landed in the eye of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. And another arrow landed in the chest of Al-Hussein. But the arrow that broke my heart was the arrow that landed in the neck of Abdullah al-Radi'. He says, I saw the neck of Abdullah and the arrow came directly in his neck. It entered from one point and it left from the other. Abdullah al-Radi' took out his hands and he began struggling. Looked at his father as if to tell him, look what they've done to me, my dear father. You brought me for water, but look what they've done to me. Imam Hussein he made a handful of blood in his hand. He threw it to the sky and he said, هَوَّنَ عَلَيَّ مَا نَزَلَ بِي أَنَّهُ بِعَيْنِ اللَّهِ. My Lord, as long as you're watching, oh Allah, as long as you're watching, I don't care. I will give my infant. And he heard a sound coming from the sky saying, دَعْهُ يَا حُسَيْنِ فَإِنَّ لَهُ مُرْضَعَةً فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Give him as a sacrifice, Ya Hussein. He will have someone to quench his thirst in paradise. Imam Hussein comes back to the tent. He comes back to the camp carrying Abdullah al-Radi' by carrying him under his clothing. His daughter Sukaina comes to him, Abba, did you quench the thirst of my brother Abdullah? Where is my brother Abdullah? Did you quench his thirst? And if there's any water remaining, I'd like to drink some water. He said, Haki akhaki madbuha. Take your brother, they have massacred him. Ya boya, طفل للماء يخذته. للماء أخذته بسهم العدا مذبوح جبته. شنو الذنب خويا عملته والماء حاضر ما شربته. I hope there's no one in our majlis that has lost a son or a daughter or a child. This is a difficult moment. They came to his mother, Al-Rabab. Al-Rabab had no clue. They came to her and they told her that your infant has died. Ya bani, ya Abdullah, ya ghali. Ya ghali, ana birbaq zart al-layali. Imam Hussein immediately took the child and he buried him the same day. The same day he dug with his sword and he buried Abdullah al-Radi'. Al-Allam al-Majlisi, he says, I saw in a dream. This is Laylatul Wada. This is the last night. Al-Allam al-Majlisi says, I saw in my dream that I was sitting on a mimbar giving a lecture. All of a sudden a group of people stood. So much commotion, I had no idea what's happening. They received someone, they welcomed someone in the majlis. Then someone came towards me and he said, Ya Shaykh, Fatima al-Zahra has entered this majlis. And she has a request from you. The request is that you recite Musibatul Wada', the last farewell. Which farewell? The farewell between Aba Abdullah and his sister Zainab. He said, I told the messengers, but I haven't memorized Musibatul Wada'. They went to Fatima, they came back. She said, Sayyidah Zahra, she insists that you recite Musibatul Wada'. She would like to cry tonight. And she would like to hear how her son Hussein said farewell to her daughter Zainab. Al-Allam al-Majlisi says, I began to recite. Imam Hussein came for one final time to the camp. He began to say, Ya Zainab wa ya Kulthum wa ya Ruqayna wa ya Sukayna wa ya Rabab alaykunna minni salam. فَهَذَا آخِرُ الْإِجْتِمَاعِ. He said his last farewell, and then he said, who will bring me my horse? I have no more companions to bring me my horse. His sister Zainab brings his horse. And she said, أَيُّ أُخْتٍ تُقَدِّمُ لِأَخِيهَا جَوَادَ الْمَنِيَّةِ. Which sister brings her brother the horse of his death? Imam Hussein mounts his horse, Bismillah wa billah. وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَعَلَى مِلَّةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. He's about to enter the battlefield. All of a sudden he hears a faint voice from behind him. Mahlan, mahla, yabna Zahra. Oh son of Fatima, don't rush to your fate. Don't rush to your destiny. Stop, slow down. He looks, he stops, he turns around and he sees it's his sister Zainab. أخي أبا عبد الله انزل من على ظهر جوادك قفلي هنيئة أخي. My dear brother, come down from your horse. One last time, Ya Aba Abdullah. I promise I will no longer delay you. I promise this is the last time. Come down from your horse. Imam Hussein came down from his horse. His sister approached him. أخي أبا عبد الله اكشف لي من عن صدرك وعن نحرك. My dear brother, expose your chest and expose your neck. Why? She said, do it. I have a message to deliver. He exposed his chest and he exposed his neck. She came close, she embraced his chest and she embraced his neck. And then she looked towards Medina. Ummah Fatima, لَقَدْ أَدَّيْتُ الْأَمَانَةِ. My dear mother, I did exactly what you told me to do. He said, Ya Zainab, you're breaking my heart at the sound of my mother Fatima. What is this? She said, Akhi Aba Abdullah, the last day of my mother's life, she told me, my dear daughter Zainab, you will see your brother Hussein on a day, a very lonely day. You will stand alone. You will stand by himself without any supporters. Go to him, kiss his chest, and kiss his neck. Embrace him. Why his chest? Because that is the place where the horses will trample the chest of Aba Abdullah. And why the neck? Because it will be the place of the sword of Shimr ibn al-Jawshan. Embrace him on these two places and tell him that his mother loves him. ريض ريض يا خويا حسين ليا عندي وصية من الزكية قامت بيوم الغاضرية لو شفتي الغالي علي حبيه من نحر الشفية وحبيه من صدره إلي خويا خويا أنا بعيني لباري لك عيالك خويا أنا بروحي لسجد لك أطفالك. Imam Hussein entered the battlefield. He entered the battlefield. He began fighting. Some of the enemy soldiers, they threw stones at him. One of the stones hits his forehead. He begins bleeding from his forehead. And then Salih ibn Wahab, he hits him with a spear in his rib. He damages the ribs of Aba Abdullah. Aba Abdullah sits, he comes down from his horse. He sits, he falls. The horse comes around him. The enemy soldiers, they surround Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They surround him for the final moments. My dear brothers and sisters, this is it. These are our final moments with Aba Abdullah. The horse comes around the Imam. As the enemy soldiers, they come. The horse comes to the Imam as if telling him, get up Aba Abdullah, they're coming towards us. Coming towards us. The horse drenches his face in the blood of Aba Abdullah and he rushes towards the camp of the woman. The woman, they hear the sound of the horse, thinking that the Imam is back to the camp. They come outside and they see that the horse is empty. The knight is not on his horse. As Sayyidah Zainab rushes to the tent, to the mountain, she wants to see what is happening. All of a sudden she sees Shimr ibn al-Jawshan sitting on the chest of Aba Abdullah. أين المنادي يا حسين يا شهيد يا مظلوم.
يا ابن أمي يا ابن أمي عالترضايا عفتك رمية عين العمى ولا أشوف ذيك المسية يا خويا خلينا ياك عالغبر عاري مغسل بفيض دماك والجفن ذاري. روحي بقت وياك والجدم ساري. امشي ودير العين الغاضرية، ادري بسيم مسموم جبدك تقطع وصواب قبل صاب والمكفى مطلع. هي بذاك السيم يا حسين قلبي تقطع. سم الضمير حشاي نار السرية. هي سم الضمير حشاي هاي نار السرية. غصبا علي والله غصبا علي يا حسين على الغبر عفتك. والحجر لو ما كان يفضل جبهتك ما كانت من الصوت تتلوع اختك. ما كانت من الصوت تتلوع اختك. ناب انطي مني ناب انطيمتني وناب اشقف بدي. هاي ناب انطيمتني وناب هاي ناب اشقف بدي. Brother, you left me alone here within the tent. Tell me, do you know how I feel after you went? Brother, you left me alone here within the tent. Tell me, do you know how I feel after you went? After you left me in the tent, I had to stand all alone here and watched as you lay on the dust. Watched your neck severed by Shiloh. All alone I was left to cry, with no one left to soothe my tears. And all I had left to talk to was your head raised upon a spear. This head did not answer me. Truly no one was with me. Between the fire and the screams of the children, only for my brother I wished for and had yearned. Between the fire and the screams of the children, only for my brother I wished for and had yearned. I gazed upon this darkened land and saw the bodies were scattered. I wished in dust with my two hands. I buried them with no helper. But the women were then attacked and our tents were set on fire. Where were the men to defend us? Please answer me, oh my brother. In the fire, the children, and why did no one help them? We walked through fire and smoke with death in our breath. All those we had once knew had been taken by death. We walked through fire and smoke with death in our breath. All those we had once knew had been taken by death. Brother, after you left us here, we were all dragged and put in chains. These are the women, these are women of Muhammad. Tell me, did they not have shame? On the burning sand we were forced, our bodies in torture and pain. It's as if we walked on fire, and by God this was just the same. We were dragged from land to land, from fire to burning sand, with no knowledge of what were to become of us, with no Hussein to follow and no one to trust, with no knowledge of what were to become of us, with no Hussein to follow and no one to trust. We were paraded through the streets, and as they stared with their dark eyes, no one cared for Hussein's body, no one cared for our cry, no one cared for our screams and cries. So we were thrown into their courts. Next to me my brother's head raised, whilst my brother's head sits in shame. In Karbala his body lies. My brother who will bury, from him I'm taken away. I stand here humiliated, and here I cry, whilst in Karbala's valley 72 lie. So cry for me, don't forget me.
نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور، اللهم اشفي كل مريض، اللهم داوي كل جريح، اللهم اكسو كل عريان، اللهم اشبع كل جائع، اللهم اغني كل فقير، اللهم اقضي دين كل مدين. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا عيبا إلا سترته، ولا خوفا إلا آمنته، ولا رزقا إلا بسطته، ولا شملا إلا جمعته، ولا مرضا إلا شافيته، ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. كل من أوصانا بالدعاء. Many people have asked me for dua. Allah